What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Into My GT Entertainment, and I am Joel. Nice to see you here on today is my Sunday. Don't know when you're gonna get this video. I'm gonna try to get it out today, but I started a little late and who knows when you're gonna see it. But the basis of this video is to kind of go back and reflect what has been done to WASP at this point, because there's stuff that has been done in the background that y'all haven't seen, that I haven't got time to do videos on, but I wanted to discuss what was going on with that and then show you what else I have in the mix and what's going on with me. So we'll be right back. Everyone, so I am in here in the garage, and as you can see, Storm, or Stormy, I call it Storm, we'll leave it at that, and Nightwing are in the garage. Now both of these cars have been cleaned and polished up for this weekend. We did have a couple car shows, car meets and stuff like that, and little Mustang hangout or whatever. But you're probably gonna ask, why is WASP not in here? And so on and so on. So to get that story started, WASP is right here. Hasn't gone anywhere, but it did have a little hiatus for a couple days. And I'm gonna tell you what was going on with that in the point-to-point thing that I'm about to do with WASP. So let me get that started, and we'll see you in a second. All right, people, so what I have done to WASP since I started this adventure, you know, getting Electra sold and being unemployed and yada yada yada, you know, all the stuff that kind of fell into my lap, I have gotten some strides going. I've gotten a lot of things done. There is some hope on the workforce, so I'll get back to that in a little while. But what we're going to talk about is WASP and what I have done to WASP to this point. Everything that I can recall, what we've done, what has been done, and what is still to come. So starting here in the rear end, so let me go find my keys. Hold that thought. Okay, now that I have found my keys, as you can see, the taillights are the same, but I do have the Dynamics little LED lights across the top of the exhaust. Now, you can see right there. And then the exhaust itself is new. That is a Corsa Extremes with the HH pipe. They are definitely a lot louder than my factories, but they are active exhaust. So you can quiet those down if need be. So the thing that I wanted to show you with the active exhaust, because someone asked me, not that I want to show you per se, but just to let you know, someone asked me, well, I have active exhaust from the factory, will it still work with the screens and whatever? Yes, all you have to do is move the actuator over to the new exhaust and everything runs just the way it did before. No issues, no problems. As you can see, WASP is doing the same thing, ready to go. No problems whatsoever there. So hanging around the back of the car still, I got also the dynamic side markers that are in there, as you can see right there. And for the factory ones versus this, these are smoked, and then the factory ones only have like 3 LEDs at the bottom, where this has a full LED in it. So let me hit it again for y'all. So that's kind of the difference in it. They're a little fun to put on because you have to go ahead and pop the screws out here and pop the fender out and reach around. And then if you get these to complement those, then those wire together, so there's like a little T that wires into them, so it's not too bad. Sorry for the dirt on the car. The car has been getting some work done and I haven't had time to clean it. So with that being said, back here, the next thing that was done, which I cannot show you because I would have to get on a car, but I'll throw up a picture here. That's right, so I have the sway bars on the car now also. I have the front and rear. They're the steeda sway bars. Pretty easy to put on. They weren't really bad. With the exhaust, it made it a little tricky because there's a little thicker in the back, but nonetheless, not a problem to put on. So I haven't really got time to go to throw those in the corners and to see how well they handle, but from the little drive that I took, I could tell that the car is more responsive, especially in the front. I'll show you that shortly. So rear sway bars are now in the car. Okay, well, right back here, the big obvious thing is the wheels and tire package I have on here. I have the Belgian VF10s wrapped in Nitto 555 G2s. So I have 315s in the back and 285s in the front. They're both 30 series tires and they're on 20s. You can see the nice Brembo with the little brake pad up there. That is your brake and your drift brake. Haven't done any drifting in this quite yet, but you know, that may happen one day. Right about this section of the car, I have the stop the hop kit, which is kind of like a subframe connector that connects this part to that part over there. What it does, it helps prevent the wheel hop on these cars. The S650s, S550s, they were noticeably bad when you go from a dig. They'll sit there and just chirp, 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 chirp. This will help that issue tremendously. It also had the subframe spacers in there, so it would help you realign it to get the alignment of the rear end straight. So that is also done. Let me see if I can get under the car and show you that. I may be able to, I may not. There they are right there. It's this powder coated one right here. It goes all the way back, goes right here, and that definitely helps the car stiffen up a little bit. And acting with the stiffening up of the car, I don't know if you can see, let me see if I can find it. I have jack rails. Now the jack rails are a simple little tool to help you find the jacking point so you don't mess up your pinch rails. Also, with them being in there and tied to the car, it also adds as a subframe connector and stiffens up the side of the car. So you're actually getting two benefits with it. You're getting a longer jacking point, so you could hit it here, you could hit it in the middle and do both tires at the same time, so on and so on. Or, you know, you can have a nice rigid ride, you know, knowing that your car is a little stiffer. Okay, and as we go into the car a little bit, because from that point on, we are in here. So what I did prior to, I do have an MGW shifter. The shifter that came in it wasn't bad, but it was still kind of sloppy. It was not as bad as S197s, but like I said, this definitely made it a shorter throw, and it looks kind of nice in there. Put the carbon fiber shift ball in there, so that gives it kind of a faux look. You know, the carbon fiber looks good. You know, it has a bunch of the fake carbon fiber or weave look stuff around it. So like I said, that's done. The last thing I done in here was the altimeter gauge, the custom pillar. Like I said, a lot of people requested me to send them the company's information. They need the car here to do it. They didn't make a template. Every car is a little different, so you know, they want to make sure that when they build it in the customer's car, it's done right. So this is a one-on-one right now. They don't have them for the S650s. This is it's an actual digital gauge, but with analog front. It hooks into the I'll show you where that hooks up in a minute, but it hooks into the compartment, and then when the Whipple gets there, you feed the air line to the actual Whipple itself, and then you shouldn't have any issues. You'll have the boost gauge working, because right now it does whatever it wants to do. It just kind of does what it needs to do. Sometimes it's on 0, sometimes on 30, sometimes it's a negative, you know, because it's not reading off of anything. So in here, I believe that is everything besides the tinted windows and stuff like that, you know. But for performance wise, or something to do with performance, that is all that is done in here. All right, to complement the rear tires, we have the front tires, and I said there are 285 35 20s in the front and 315s in the rear. So definitely brought the meat with it to complement the rear signals and markers. Of course it goes out on me, but to complement that, I have the front ones in there. So as you can see, they're yellow. The ones in the back are red, and they're tinted, so or the smoke color, so that way when they are off, they kind of give the car a nice little look. I have this whole black and white theme, excuse me, a yellow and black theme going on, so it kind of complements everything what's going on. And if you want to see it with the lights out, that's with them out, and it complements that pretty well. All right, here in the engine bay, we have done quite a few things in here lately, and I'll have to kind of go over that a little bit. But with the boost gauge, as you can see, I have it tied right here. There's a module that hooks to it. It goes there, and there's an air hose that runs off, and then that'll go into the actual Whipple at the exit point or wherever I'm putting it. So once that gets done, I will show you that completed part. Until the Whipple gets here, which is still looking at May, you know, we're kind of tied to where we are with that. All right, this is kind of a mixed bag right here. I have the OSC oil separator. Now with this was one of the first things I did, thanks to Vinny and them down there, because they did give me a hookup on that. With the Whipple, it's not going to be able to sit where it sits right now, because the Whipple itself brings another canister, and then I might be too much crowding this over there. Now they do have an extended one that comes over and goes on this side, because the Whipple stuff's going to be over here. So they have it where it sits here, because most people that have the Whipple do not have a strut tower brace. Notice I say most people. So that'll be later on down the way, but y'all could probably bet on I'll have a strut tower brace. So I won't get into all the details with that quite yet, but it's coming and it'll look pretty good. So with that being said, because I think their remote side mounts over here, I do not know if I'll be able to use the oil separator over here either. So in talks with Vinny and whatever, I live in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. They are out of Chesapeake, Virginia, which is roughly an hour and a half from where I live. So I told them that I could ride down there and we can kind of R&D it, and then for people that have a strut tower brace, find a place to put it, you know, so it'll work and be useful, right? So that may be coming to y'all. I don't know if it be offered to everybody if we do find something, or if it makes sense, but you know, we'll go from there. One of the last things that I did do here was the new can, the reservoir for the coolant. the expansion tank. It is a Mishimoto one, and I got it in black. Someone also asked me, hey, why don't you get it color coded or yada yada yada. With the Whipple coming, and the Whipple itself, all this up here is going to be yellow. I didn't think having a yellow can, yellow this, you know, it's going to be a little much. So that's why I went with the black. The black will accent fine with everything else that I have going on in here. And like I said, there's some pieces that are coming now. Y'all probably guessed, you know, I got a strut tower brace coming for the Whipple. There's other accent pieces that are going to go because of that and because of how it is and what it looks like. So don't ask to taste the cake before it's done. You'll see what I mean. But back to the tank, we went ahead and got that put in there, and like I said, it looks a whole lot nicer than the plastic. I wish they had stuff like that for the actual brake reservoir, you know, because the brake in the clutch is all fed out of the same reservoir. So I wish they had a metal can or something like that for that, but they don't have one quite yet. They have like universal tanks, but I don't want to deal with the universal tank. So with this, we'll just kind of leave it as it is. That'll probably be the only plastic thing besides, you know, the reservoir for the windshield wiper fluid that you'll see. So too bad, too sad, right? All right, sitting here in the nostril area, we have the K&N Typhoon intake. Now, they're not bad. Will they give you 10,000 horsepower? Probably not. They are open boxes. A lot of people are just kind of fickle about that stuff. They're like, you're letting the hot air in, this, that, and the other. You know, people with higher degrees make this stuff. So, you know, I'll leave that up to them. I don't notice any temperature raise and any issues at all with it. So, you know, it does what it's supposed to do, I suppose, and have no issue with it running. It's not overheating. I don't see my IETs hot. I don't see the temperature in the motor hotter. I don't see, you know, anything crazy that the car isn't doing anyway. So anyway, those will be on sale. I will be selling them. That's what it is. That's going to be one of the things that will not be used again once the Whipple gets in here, because the Whipple brings its own tubing. I do have the open air boxes for the Whipple with the black air filters, because, you know, got the yellow and black theme going on. You know, the blue wouldn't work out for me for that. So that's going to be a little different also. And for the most part, I think that is all that is done in here besides what y'all can't see. So let me flip this around and tell you about that. All right. So the part that y'all can't see that was just done this weekend is my oil pump gears are put in. Oh, and there's something else I gotta show you too. But with that being said, you know, I'm getting the Whipple. If I had an auto, I probably might have saved the money and not did those, just for the fact that the auto will make it not bounce off that red limiter, or, you know, it'll be tuned a little different for that. But you having a manual, me being you, I like to sometimes get a little spirited in my driving, and sometimes I don't shift early enough and it gets there. Especially with the Whipple, it's probably going to get there fairly quickly because there are 373s in this car. That might be something I might be changing out also, but I digress. I'm not gonna lose track of what I'm thinking. So my buddy Jay here in Richmond, Stage and Lane Performance, he went ahead and tackled that for me this weekend. He did also the sway bars for me. Like I said, he got it in, did what he needed to do, took everything apart. I do have photos, so I will post those up here, and maybe at the end of the video of some of the stages and how the car was all over the place. So that part was done, and like I said, that's over my wheelhouse to do. The Whipple, I can probably float that, getting into the internals and messing with all that stuff. I leave that for someone that likes to do that. the other thing that was done that I just mentioned was the front sway bar. Now I have these on the midpoints right now because, like I said, I'm trying to figure out what feel I like. Like I said, they weren't too bad to put on, especially when you're on a big lift. You know, they slide out the driver's side. You got to take the tires off, the wheels, excuse me, and you know, they come undone. The hardest part is there's a bolt right under the alternator. That is the hardest part of the whole thing. Once you get that undone, get them off the spindles and everything else that you need to, everything just twists and comes out the other side. So with that being done, like I said, it's got a little I got to play with it a little bit to see what I like and what I don't like, but the car itself runs great. I haven't been able to like get in it spiritedly yet because, like I said, I just got the car back today and had some things I had to do, but I wanted to clean this up a little bit and kind of get with y'all and show y'all what has been happening. All right, so back to the front of the car, outside, not inside. We went ahead and got the RTR lighting kit for it. This is the full grill set. I do have the side grills also. Of course, those had to come out because I put in the fog lights. There's not many of the Mustangs with the fog lights in them right now, so like I said, just trying to get a trend started. Like I said, they are so much nicer, definitely so much nicer with the fog lights in them, just for the aesthetics. It's not more so you get so much more light, but you do get a lot of light, but it's just kind of the way that the car itself looks is so much nicer with the fog lights in there. And like I said, I love the RTR lights. I did find a trick to dumb them down because they were super bright compared to everything else in the car. So what I did is I came over here, and over here there was a wire, a ground that tied to here. What that ground does, because with the RTRs, they work off the bulb that is in that corner. If you look at your factory one, there's a little light up in this little corner, right up in here. So what it does, it feeds off that light, the power. So when you run it over there, when you do your turn signals, it's supposed to, you know, flow with that. It kind of works sometimes good, sometimes it just gets kind of off. So what I did, I went and took that ground off. And what that did for the car is it dulled these lights down and took away the turning thing. So they just stay on, but they're dull. So you don't have the overpowering, but they still function as what they're supposed to be there. And then with the fog lights, you know, I got those put in. So everything is wired the way I want them to, and I'll turn them on here momentarily because it is getting a little darker and they'll be able to be seen pretty good. But yeah, that is WASP. WASP is coming along pretty well. Like I said, I got things going the way I want them to. Things are starting to happen for her. Like I said, it's taking me a little bit of planning, a little time, and you know, kind of getting certain things done. The oil pump gears needed to come in anyway, so this gave me some time to do the oil pump gears, and if there was any issues that come about before I put the boost on there, I'll have time to take care of it. So like I said, the boost is coming, the oil pump gears are done, the sway bars are done, you know, so things are getting chopped off the list pretty good. So let me go ahead and turn these lights on for you. I know I'm a little bit everywhere, but that's how I roll. And as you can tell, it's also a little loud. It's gonna fly down in a sec. There we go. And as you can see, I only got them part way open too. Well, you can only imagine, right? All right, everybody, so this is with the lights on. As you can see, the RTRs are dim, they're not as bright. But like I said, they made sense to be bright when I didn't have the fog lights themselves, but now that I have the fog lights engaged, I dimmed them down so they're more of an accent piece. So they're a daytime running light now. They come on all the time like the daytime running lights, but they're not so ungodly bright compared to everything else. And then the fog lights, like I said, I think every Mustang should have fog lights. I don't know why, for one reason or another, they decided, hey, they don't need them, the headlights are good enough. But obviously there's a market out there to take care of that, because as you can see, these are done, and like I said, it looks so much better to me. But that is my opinion. So to let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think it looks better with the fog lights or without the fog lights? You know, some people are anti whatever and some people are. So let me know what y'all think. So what do they sound like to you at idle? And you can see the diodynamic lights in the back over them. There's kind of cool effect at night where, you know, if it's cool outside and it's steamy, the steam coming out the exhaust, then the red light gets it and it gives it a weird effect. But what do y'all think? I think it sounds pretty good. And this is actually, they're in track mode now. So this is how the exhaust sounds in track, just at idle. I think it sounds pretty darn good. Just my opinion again. I do have a question for y'all. So, I'm gonna see if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna get close to it. But do any of your new cars have the injector tick? Like I said, sometimes it's louder and pronounced more, and then sometimes it's, you know, not there at all. Whatever, it's a Mustang thing. You know, it started with the typewriter tick and this tick and that tick, and it ticks off people, right? So I'm not sweating it. Everything's running good. It just has a little tick, 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 tick. Let me see if you can hear it. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but you know, there's a tick there. Like I said, it seems to be normal. So I don't know. What do y'all think? I think Ford should have fixed that, or at least somehow muffled it down a little bit. But you know, it's a sports car, and I guess they didn't care, right? All right. So that is WASP. That's where we are at with her right now. Him, her. It is a her. Really, it is. Go watch the movies. So anyway, that's where we are with her. Like I said, she's coming along pretty well. Like I said, I'll do some driving POV stuff with the new suspension and mods to it, and make sure that everything's good. My steering might be off just a tad. I don't know if we kind of knocked it out of whack putting in the new sway bars, but I'll probably get it realigned just to make sure, not chewing up my tires and whatnot. So other than that, the car is ready for the Whipple. There's some other things that I could probably purchase in sight for that. I don't know if I'm gonna really need it, because I'm not gonna be running a tire. I'm gonna be running street tires, regular off-the-shelf tires. Now if it gets a little wild and crazy, I might go to the Type R's in the Nitto 555s, the G2 Rs, so that way it's kind of a radial, and you know, it'll give me a little more grip. But we're gonna have to kind of work that out as we go along. The only other things that I may want to put on this car, I haven't quite figured out if I want to do it yet or not. Again, I was unemployed, and you know, it was just kind of, stuff costs money, right? Nobody's giving brand deals, nobody's helping me out. So you know, I needed to figure out what I need to do as what I can do when I can do it, right? So what those things are is, one, an aluminum drive shaft. I don't care so much about a carbon fiber one, but a one-piece aluminum. I had a one-piece in Electra. I didn't have no problems with it. I know it's rotational mass and that and the other, but you know, it is a little bit lighter. Not that I'm, again, going racing and doing whatever with it, but versus a two-piece at 800 or 900 horsepower or 700 horsepower versus a one piece. Probably the one piece will be a little better in that aspect. But people that have it or are experts in it, let me know, because I'm not an expert. I just do things sometimes. The next thing are the axles. The axles themselves, like I said, I'm not putting a radial on this, a slick. I'm going to drive it normal. If I take it to the track, I'm probably going to run it on the street tires. Again, maybe I'll put, you know, the R's on it. That'll give me a little bit more grip, but they're still streetable tires. So we'll have to figure that out as we go along too, because that's one of the other weak links. Now, this part, I have different options. In my other cars, when I went boost, I put a different rear end in it. Now we're talking live axle versus the independent here. So the difference is that you could buy the pumpkin section for the S650s in the gear ratio you need them to be in. The other car, the Mustang that I had, Electra, it came with a 373. I dropped it down to a 331. But you had to go ahead and change them out and do what you need to do with that. With these, you could actually buy the pumpkin section, you know, so that way if you want a 331 or 315 or whatever, you know, you could buy it in that configuration, pop this off, pop the other one on, you're good to go. It should be straight that simple, right? So I don't know, I guess once I get the boost on the car, I'll figure that part out, because 373s with boost, your first gear is just shot anyway, you know, that's a like, and you're done. The other ones, you know, kind of taper off as you go, but like I said, really for a boosted application in my eyes, 331 was always a sweet spot. So we'll have to figure that part out also. Other than that, maybe a little suspension work, like I said, as needed. I've done a little bit more than I said before, that, you know, if things come about and things happen, I'll go ahead and add those to it, and that's what I've been doing, you know. And like I said, it's been a fun ride, and like I said, I'm enjoying the aspect of building a car again. Like I said, with Electra, I was done, you know, there wasn't much to do. And you know, the car itself, in my eyes, was fine. It did have that little rattle that Tyler's trying to sort out, but you know, I don't know what it is. And like I said, it could be just simple grease fittings, or it could be, you know, it could be something simple, it could be something more difficult to figure out. I know he's gotten through a little different things in there, but you know, sometimes the obvious thing is staring you in the face and you don't see it. So it could be the sway bars themselves, you know, banging, you know, something that might be too close to something, so it might be banging on something there. So like I said, he just has to figure out that part of it. But let me get to another part of this story real quick. All right, everybody, so now I am in my tool shed, the one that I bought for Electra, the HQ for Electra. So what do I do with this? Right now, it is becoming a parts warehouse. Like I said, my old sway bar, my old exhaust, you know, just odds and ends, and exhaust that I'm trying to sell. I got an X pipe in here, but everybody's trying to lowball me. It's freaking a $700 X pipe. People are like, I'll give you $250 for it if you send it to me. I just keep the shit. I don't need to sell it. So anyway, I've been kind of just storing some stuff in here. Got Electra's old car cover, which I'm going to use for Pam's car at some point. But Jay went ahead and let me grab his quick jacks today too, because we are doing the Whipple here. I don't know if we're doing it in this building, because I don't know if this building will support it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just throw it in the other room over there and be okay. But got the quick jacks, got stuff going on. But I think this garage, I'm going to tailor it to something with the vehicle. It might be WASP foam. You know, it might be over here, and you know, use SC, throw Wasp out on the weekends and have a good time with her. Use Nightwing for the rest of the time. I don't know. Pam's car is clean now, so she's been driving the crap out of the Mustang now. I don't know, she just kind of flipped the switch and did that. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's going to be here. You know, I'm going to keep it sort of clean and figure out what I need to do here and there. I'm thinking about putting an air conditioning unit in, you know, so that way during the summer, you know, it won't be unbearably hot. It's already kind of insulated. And then winter, get one of the little floor heaters, and then I could actually do stuff in here. Maybe I'll do my detailing in my cars in here. I don't know. I have options. Like I said, I do have to drive through the yard to do it, but I'm at a good point where my yard is in a good condition and I don't have to worry about it right now. So we'll figure that part out. But like I said, I just wanted to show you that I got stuff going on, and the marble is still working and the gears are turning, and we're going to figure out something with it for sure. Now, I don't know if I showed any of this to y'all. This is Pam's happy place right here. This is her swim spa. Like I said, we did a big old water change on it here just recently, getting it all ready for the summer. We got it in midwinter, probably early fall, and she's been in and out of it, but you know, it got a little cloudy, so we went ahead and cleaned it all up and got it all straight. So she is ready to go with this, and it's a hot tub swim spa. It, you know, during the winter you put it at 90 some degrees and be out there and do what you need to do, and then during the summer you turn the heater off and it's like a little mini pool. So like I said, she enjoys the crap out of that. Like I said, I'm glad that she's found stuff that she can do and do what she wants to do with it. All right, so let's address the elephant in the room, the job situation. Well, guys, thanks for your support, but last Friday, the one that just passed, I got a job offer, and I'm waiting on the paperwork for it, and we'll see where we are. I think it's going to be a good workout, you know, and like I said, it's a part of a business that I haven't been in before, so it'll be nice because it'll keep my mind going a little bit. It won't be the same drawn out stuff, and you know, something that I could learn and grow into also. So like I said, just waiting for the paperwork to come in, the job offer itself, look at the benefits, the pay, make sure everything is squared away, and then I'll be starting a new job coming either the 7th or the 14th. I don't know yet, but there's a reason why there's a jump in there, and let me tell you why. All right, I had to sit down. So when I went to my stress test, I know I mentioned a couple of videos ago, did the stress test, and the heart function is good, but they did notice that the lower part of the heart isn't pumping as well as the rest of it. So they want to go in and do a heart, I don't know the right terminology for it, but they go in there and with a little camera, they either go through your hand or through your groin area, and go in there with the camera and kind of see if you have any blockages or anything like that. Now, I haven't been feeling weird or anything, but you know, after that test, I have been feeling kind of off. So I don't know if it's something that they did, something that, you know, I had radioactive crap in me, so I don't know if my body was just like, hey, you're not supposed to have this crap in you, blah blah blah, whatever the case. But anyway, on the 11th of April, I'm going in for the procedure where they're doing it. It should be outpatient, it shouldn't be anything, and hopefully things don't get all jacked up with my job. I told them that, you know, I'm getting a procedure done, should be outpatient, you know, I need like 24 or 48 hours to recoup, and then I should be back to good doing what I need to do. So that is why I have a Monday start time. Now, if something screws up along the way, I hope to God not, but you know, hopefully they can understand that also. But nonetheless, we got a job, all pump gears are done in the car, WASP is coming along pretty well. Just waiting on getting the Whipple, and like I said, change of pace of the Whipple. Like I said, that's getting done here, not at Derek's. So I might have to pay someone to help me out now, but you know, it is what it is at that aspect. I would rather do it here anyway, because I can do it at my pace. Like I said, if I pay someone to do it, they'll still help me out doing what I need to do, you know, and I'm just looking for someone that has that little bit more of an edge on stuff, just in case I need help. Like I said, we did Electras here. I never had a problem with that, and it was on the car for 7-8 years and no issues whatsoever. So as long as things aren't so stupid crazy, you know, it shouldn't be no problem. I got the garage, it's air conditioned, throw some music on, whoever's helping me, we can just have a good time and take care of it. So, and it should be like a 2-day project, 3-day project, depending if we run into any snags and how much video I'm doing and yada yada yada, or how I had to shorten it down. But I know this video has gotten long, but you know, that's what I do. I talk, and then y'all either watch it all the way through or cut out and say peace. I don't know. But like I said, my Sunday videos do good. Like I said, my last video with the tank didn't do so hot. The one prior to that did, like, you know, pretty good. So it's kind of often I'm trying to find what y'all like and what y'all don't like, or it's the days that I drop it. Whatever the case is, y'all just let me know. Like I said, I don't have a lot of stuff going on, and when I do multi-days, it seems like one kicks butt, the rest don't. And like I said, I don't do it, but like I said, if I could get a little bit of cheese out of this, you know, more power to me, right? And I do appreciate y'all, because like I said, I wouldn't be doing none of this stuff without y'all. I mean, it'd be kind of messed up if I did it and like 3 people watch. So, you know, I could just have a little phone call with a couple friends and do it that way, right? But anyway, guys, I am gonna go ahead and see that Blackstone behind me. I'm gonna go cook on that. Gonna make some steaks tonight, then take a shower, and then try to get this video edited and done, and then maybe I'll pop it out Monday, because I don't see me getting it out tonight. But you never know what'll happen. Like I said, I don't want to throw it out too late either. You know, it is spring break, so maybe a lot of people are off on vacation too. So anywho, with that being said, I want to thank y'all again. Like I said, WASP is coming along very well. It's coming out the way I want her to. Like I said, I can't complain. I can't complain with it right now. You know, a lot of people have different opinions of what they like to do in the car. I do like a clean look, and this is pretty clean at the moment. Oh, the proximity thing always kicks in. But like I said, the car to me is clean. I know Brandon's kind of looks similar, but it ain't Brandon's, and it won't be Brandon's. And the cool thing is, when the parking lights are on, as you can see, oh, of course, it went away. It'll be back in a second. The fog lights turn yellow, so that way it has, well, there we go. See, I got close to them again. So that's kind of a cool thing, and that's the startup sequence of everything. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that with the new Mustangs, but the fog lights turn yellow when you have them on parking, and if you put on your high beams, the white turns into a dull yellow, so that way you don't get popo at you. But anyway, again, I'm throwing this every which way but loose, right? So WASP is coming along. She's doing good. Nightwing, did he beat me today? So upset. But it's all good. We'll catch up to him later on, I promise. But Nightwing, Storm, WASP, Jeep Wagon, Ram Truck, Cindy Car. We will catch you on the next video, my friends. Like I said, if I said, comment, subscribe, do whatever. If you have any pieces, parts you think I should be looking at or getting into, let me know. Like I said, this platform's a little different. Like I said, the drive shaft, I'm leaning towards doing. The axles, I don't know if I need to spend that money quite yet. But like I said, we'll have to see. So y'all have a great night, a good evening, a better week, and we'll catch you on the next video.